in sovereign nations where borders cannot be changed, by force, and therefore you are fighting for our principles. And the second point why we think that this war needs, on the side of Ukraine, our full support is that if Russia would win, Russia would not stop in the eastern provinces of Ukraine. We saw that in 2014. Maybe in our part of Europe, we did not fully realize what might happen after the invasion of Crimea, but we learned it the hard way in 2022. And that is the reason why, on behalf of the Luxembourg government, I can tell you that we will do everything to support Ukraine from a political point of view, from a military point of view, a humanitarian point of view, a financial point of view. Political point of view, we supported wholeheartedly the declaration by the European Council. European Council was, by the way, the first European Council I attended, to give Ukraine the status of a candidate to join, after negotiations, the European Union. We want Europe to be the place where all the democratic countries are united to ensure peace, stability, security, prosperity. We also believe that in the long term we need to have a European security community. We will continue to support with our means Ukraine from a military point of view. We don't have all types of weapons that Ukraine may need, but we can support you in different coalitions with others. That's why we, together with our Benelux partners, join the Czech initiative to buy ammunition that Ukraine needs. That's why we are leading an IT coalition to support the Ukrainian armed forces in building the necessary resilience when it comes to cyber attacks and similar IT issues. That is why we are in some other coalitions. So we will support you, and I can tell you that last year we spent 16% of our defense budget to support Ukraine. And this will go on. And we are fully united in this in the Luxembourg government, that Ukraine needs our full support. We will continue to support Ukraine from a humanitarian point of view, both in Ukraine and in Luxembourg. We welcomed a number of Ukrainian refugees. They are most welcome here in Luxembourg because we know what it meant also in the Second World War when Luxembourgers fled to other countries to find temporary refuge to be protected against the invaders. And that goes also vis-à-vis the Ukrainians who are right now in Luxembourg. But also on the ground, we will make sure that we can support with our companies the reconstruction of Ukraine. And finally, from a financial perspective, we have been an active contributor also to the international organizations such as the IMF, the European Union, to give the necessary financial means that Ukraine needs to survive in these difficult circumstances. So in short, dear Dennis, be sure that Luxembourg will stand by Ukraine. We will continue to be in close contacts also in the coming weeks and months to make sure that your proposals and the proposals by President Zelensky to bring about peace in your country, which is the ultimate goal, peace and stability in Europe, that we will be on your side. We discussed that together. There will be steps to come towards a conference, hopefully in Switzerland later this year, and Luxembourg will be part of those who want to have the territorial integrity and sovereignty of Ukraine re-established, and also to have a lasting peace on the European continent. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to cooperating with you closely during the coming months, and hopefully we can see the end of this terrible war in the not too distant future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Prime Minister.
Dear Mr. Prime Minister, dear Luc, dear colleagues, journalists, today we had important talks with my colleague, distinguished Luc Frieden, Prime Minister. This is our first face-to-face meeting, and it is therefore particularly significant. Ukraine is at a turning point of our history. We are fighting for our freedom and at the same time returning to the family of European nations. We are keeping up the pace of European integration. We have implemented 11 key recommendations of the European Commission, obtained the EU negotiating framework, and are preparing to open pre-accession negotiations. Our ambition is to move faster than any country that has done so before. In this context, the support of Luxembourg as a founding member of the European Union is extremely important to us. We look forward to continued solidarity and maximum support. Ukraine is very grateful to Luxembourg for the comprehensive assistance we have received since the first days of full-scale war. We appreciate Luxembourg's contribution, in particular the advocacy of macro-financial assistance last year and the promotion of the Ukraine Facility Program this year. We are grateful for the intention to contribute to Ukraine's recovery. Luxembourg has shown interest in the reconstruction of the Kryvyi Rih districts of the Dnipro region, a powerful industrial center of my country. This is a very positive example, and we expect the implementation of the projects to start soon. We are confident that reconstruction will be our common cause. Only with a restored Ukraine there will be a strong Europe. Today we will sign an intergovernmental agreement between Ukraine and Luxembourg on technical and financial cooperation. We are defining its nature and forms of provision, the mechanism for approving programs, benefits, privileges and immunities for our Luxembourg partners. In this way, we are creating a framework for the intensification of cooperation which will undoubtedly bring positive results. We value our cooperation in the military field. Dear Prime Minister, you mentioned this today, and we really are very grateful. We appreciate Luxembourg's co-chairing of the IT coalition, which you mentioned, its active participation in the drone, demining and artillery coalitions, as well as joining the F-16 coalition. We have room to deepen cooperation. This will strengthen Ukraine's defense capabilities and bring us closer to defeating the enemy. We are paying special attention to the policy of sanctions against Russia. I am grateful to Luxembourg for supporting the 13th EU sanction package. At the same time, we should talk not only about the number of sanctions, but also about their quality and effectivity. Our common task is to cut off all ways of financing Russia's aggressive war. And we discussed this actually today with Mr. Prime Minister and governmental team. This requires maximum pressure on the metallurgical, financial, energy and agricultural sectors of the Russian economy. We need a total ban on Russian food exports to Europe. After all, these exports include stolen Ukrainian grain. We need an embargo on Russian oil and gas. Export control must be tightened to prevent evasion of sanctions. We are counting on the support of Luxembourg and all European partners. One of the key issues of the dialogue with Europe today is the confiscation of frozen Russian assets. In particular, according to preliminary data, more than 6 billion euros of Russian funds are held in Luxembourg. Our principal position is that these funds should now be made available to Ukraine. This will be fair, just and responsible to the thousands of victims of Russian aggression and Russian terrorism. It will help us survive the war and continue our reconstruction. Today, EU countries are close to a consensus on transferring the profits from the Russian assets to Ukraine. We are grateful to Luxembourg for supporting this initiative, but Ukraine sees this only as a first step towards full confiscation. For us, it is fundamental that all frozen Russian sovereign assets be used for Ukraine's sustainability and recovery. The confiscation of Russian assets is an important element of the global security architecture. We must set a precedent where the aggressor is punished and pays for its aggression. Another important aspect is the implementation of President Volodymyr Zelensky's peace formula. We are grateful to Luxembourg and personally to Prime Minister. Thank you so much for your consistent support, in particular for your readiness to join in the implementation of the seventh point of the formula, which refers to punishing Russia for its crimes. Preparations are underway for the Global Peace Summit in Switzerland. We expect more than 100 countries to participate. We would like that all countries of the world participate in this peace forum. I am confident that Luxembourg will make a significant contribution to this major forum, which will bring us closer to a just peace and global security. Dear Mr. Prime Minister, dear Luc, I would like to we have stood side by side, fighting together against the Russian evil, and we will win. We believe that our friends and partners will stand by us for as long as it takes. And you told us today, thank you for this. It brings us much more motivation and more strengthening for my country and my people and our people. We appreciate all that has been done. We know we can do more. Together we will win. Thank you for your attention. Thank you personally. Thank you.
So, are there any questions? Yeah.
Okay. Joseph Gollier from L'Essentiel. Mr. Frieden, I have a question about the support of the Chechen idea. In which amount will Luxembourg contribute to this program? And to both of you, do you have a reaction, a statement about the re-election of Vladimir Putin the day before yesterday? Thank you.
On the first aspect, we will do so together with our Benelux partners, and the exact amount still needs to be defined in the discussions with the Belgians and the Dutch. On the second question, I think these were not really competitive elections as we are used to, where there are several candidates competing in a democratic manner. So therefore, I wouldn't really call these democratic elections.
It was not elections in Russia, it was like self-reappointment of dictator on the position. And we will never recognize these elections. It was fake elections on the occupied territories. It was fake elections in the many regions of Ukraine. We have seen many bad practices of these, I would say, elections. And I believe that all civilized countries will never recognize these elections results.
Jan Kreller from Luxembourg Award. I have two questions. The first one is Luxembourg reduced its spendings for Ukraine from 69 million to today 70 million for 2024. Why is that? And will Luxembourg reach the goal from the last year? And second question is to Mr. Shmyhal. Can you comment the personal situation of the Ukrainian military?
We have not and we will not reduce our contribution to Ukraine. We have spent so far about 700 million, which in the Luxembourg context is quite a lot. So we have spent almost 0.6 or 0.7% of GDP over those past two years. And therefore, our effort will continue. Our effort will continue both vis-à-vis Ukraine and for defense in general. I am in the process, together with the Minister of Foreign Affairs and the Minister of Defense, to come up with a plan on how to spend more on defense towards also the NATO summit in July in Washington. And this, the figure that you just mentioned, is only part of our general defense effort. What matters is that we give to Ukraine what Ukraine needs to win this war, and Luxembourg will do so together with its allies and partners in the European Union and in NATO. There can be no doubt about that. We stand by Ukraine, and these are not only words, these are also all the military equipment and all the financial means that Ukraine needs to make sure that our principles, which we so strongly believe in, can prevail all over Europe, including in Ukraine.
Let me use this opportunity and once again to thank to Luxembourg people, to Luxembourg government for this crucial for us support in all spheres, in the energy sphere. We discussed actually this with Mr. Prime Minister. We survived two very difficult, tough winters, having supplying of energy equipment, energy technologies. We have military support, we have sanction support, financial support, and we are so much grateful for this. And second part of your question is about military situation. I should comment that Ukraine liberate 50% of occupied by fleet. We destroy about 20 Russian warships. We continue liberation of Black Sea, and now we increase our export through the Black Sea corridor export capacities to the level of before of this full-scale invasion and aggression from Russia's side. So we will continue. We do the same on the battlefield on the ground. And we continue produce drones and destroy Russian techniques from night by night, from day by day. We have difficult situation on the front line because of lack of artillery munition. And we hope that this Czech initiative, which Luxembourg joined, will help us, and beginning since April we will have enough ammunition, artillery ammunition, to deter our front line. So now the front line is stabilized, and unfortunately we lost Avdiivka and lost some else villages because of this lack of ammunition. But we still have motivation. Our soldiers are absolutely motivated to protect our lands. We built fortifications on the front line and near the front line. And we are counting on our partners with supplying of artillery munition. So now this is crucial. We also count on the supplying of long-range and middle-range missiles to cut Russian logistics on the occupied territories. It's also crucially important, such as artillery shells for us. But from our side, we also are not staying on the same place. We are moving it ahead with production of Ukrainian drones, with Ukrainian artillery, and with Ukrainian military equipment in all the spheres. So I believe that during the next periods, we will have some good news, good wins, and will demonstrate our partners that all together we may prevail in this war and may win this war. We have no other way. We should win this war all together. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.